So dear students, today we are going to discuss about the Muller's method. So please note, we discussed about a number of methods like bisection method, second method, false position method, Newton's method, fixed point method. So out of these methods, except Newton's method, all other methods are only used to find the real roots. Okay, we can find complex roots by using Newton's method. Okay, so here the Muller's method is also the main advantage is by using Muller's method we can find the complex root. But compared to Newton's method, the another advantage is iteration point of number of iteration point of view, it will take a little bit small number of iteration. But the problem is it have a number of computation within one iteration itself. Okay, so that is a comparison between Muller's method and Newton's method. And second thing is, in previous method, except bisection method, we are approximating the given function as a linear function very near to the root. But here, we are approximating the given function as a quadratic function, that is parabolic function. Okay. So, a parabolic function means, I told you, we are approximating the given function by using a second degree polynomial. So, we require three initial conditions to execute this algorithm. Okay. So, we can take the three initial conditions are x0 comma f of x0. x0 is the initial condition and f of x0 is the value of function at x0, x1 comma f of x1 and x2 comma f of x2. These are the three initial conditions. Okay. So, now in order to explain this initial condition and the method, assume that f of x is the function where x is the independent variable, and say this green color one is the graph of f of x, which is intersecting with the x-axis at point R. It is intersecting with the x-axis means it is crossing x-axis, means at that point f of x equals 0. So, this is the root. Okay. And I told you x0, x1, x2 are the initial condition. So, this is x0, this point is x0, this is x0, okay, and this is corresponding f of x0, this is x1 and this is f of x1 and this is x2, that is this is x2 and this is f of x2. Okay. So, in this particular graph, x2 is lying left to R and x1 and x1 are lying right to R, but actually there is no such condition for Muller's method. At any point you can say you can take x0, x1, x2. The only thing is these three initial conditions must be close to the actual root, unknown root R. And one more thing is that compared to x2 and x1, x0 must be very close to R. x0 must be very close to R. That is very important. This x0 must be very close to R. And second one, if you are arranging x1 means x0, x1, x2 in ascending order, then x2 must be the smallest value, x1 must be the largest value and x0 must be the middle point. Means x1 is right to x0 and x2 is left to x0. And x0 must be very close to the actual root, unknown root R. So, how can we say that? If it is very close to R, then f of x0 will be very small compared to f of x1 and f of x2. Okay. Okay. So, now we are going to approximate this function f of x by using a quadratic polynomial. So, for the purpose, first we are shifting the origin, here origin is 0, 0 to x0, 0 by taking v is equal to x minus x0. By taking v equal to x minus x0, we are shifting the independent variable so that we have a new function, we will have a new function p of v. Okay. So, once again we are shifting the coordinate v which is equal to x minus x0. And now the second thing is, we are by using this v, we are going to form a parabolic function, that is p of v is equal to a v square plus bv plus c, which is exactly equal to the given function f of x at given points f of x0. So this is f of x0, f of x1 and f of x2. What I am saying? First thing is, the independent variable is modified into v equal to x minus x0. The origin is shifted, so we have a shifted coordinate. And second thing is, we are going to form a new, or we are going to generate a new function, a parabolic function, p of v is equal to a v square plus bv plus c, where the independent variable is v, which is exactly equal to the given function at the given points f of x0, f of x1 and f of x2. Means p of v has to pass through these 3 points. So that one is shown by using the black color. So you can see that that one is intersecting with the f of x at a given points f of x0, f of x1 and f of x2. At all other points it may or may not be same, but at the given point it must be exactly equal to f of x. So you can see that from picture, the p of v, this is actually p of v, right? This is p of v. This p of v is intersecting with v axis. Actually p is a function with respect to v, so that one is this axis. Okay, so you can see that v is written over x. So you can see that this parabolic function is intersecting with the v axis at point vr. So this is vr. Okay, again what is v? v equal to x minus x0. So what is vr? vr is equal to xr minus x0. Means once we have vr, we can find xr by using the equation vr equal to xr minus x0. We can find xr from this equation. Okay, so you can see that it is intersecting with the v axis at point vr, or it is intersecting with the x axis at point xr. Both are correct. Is it okay? Okay. So now, to write the algorithm, we are going to do few more things. First thing is, let us take this distance, the gap between, or the distance between x0 and x1, that is x1 minus x0. We can write it as h1. So h1 is equal to x1 minus x0. We can write h1 is equal to x1 minus x0, the largest value minus the mid value. And we can write this x0 minus x2. We can write x0 minus x2 as h2. That is mid value minus the smallest value. So please note, this difference is h1, this difference is h2. Always it will be positive. Please note that. That one is always positive. Now, so h1 is equal to x1 minus x0, h2 equal to x0 minus x2. Okay. Now what is the first thing? I told you we are going to generate a parabola p of v is equal to a v square plus bb plus c. So first we are going to find the values of a, b and c. Without finding a, b and c, we can find the root vr, root of p of v, that is vr. Without vr, we can find x. So first we have to find the parameters a, b and c. Is it clear? Okay. So for that purpose, we are going to substitute the each value, that is x0, x1 and x2 into this equation. And similarly this equation. So at x equal to x0, what is the value of v? At x equal to x0, v equal to x0 minus x0, that is 0. So at x equal to x0, v equal to 0. So what about p of v? If v is equal to 0, this term is 0, this term is 0, so we have only c. So p of v is equal to a into 0 square plus b into 0 plus c. Am I correct? At what point? At x equal to x0, p of v equal to c. So what is x equal to x0 means? That is this point. That is where v equal to 0. And you can see that at v equal to 0, the value of p of v is this one. That is exactly equal to f of x0. Means at x equal to x0, p of v is equal to c, that is nothing but f of x0. So we got one parameter, c is equal to f of x0. So we got one value, f of x0. Is it clear? So now substitute x1 into this equation. What we have? At x equal to x1, then what is v? v equal to x1 minus x0. Am I correct? v equal to x1 minus x0. And what is x1 minus x0? This h1. Am I correct? So at x equal to x1, v equal to h1. Am I correct? So what about p of v? Now what is p of v? P of v is equal to a into h1 square, because v equal to h1. So a into h1 square plus b into h1 plus c. Right? So p of v is equal to, at x equal to x1, p of v is equal to a h1 square plus b h1 plus c. That is this point. Because this is h1, v equal to h1. So this is p of v equal to the value of p of v at h1. And you can see that that is exactly equal to f of x1. So means at x equal to x1, p of v is equal to a h1 square plus b h1 plus c, that is equal to f of x1. Is it okay? So now what at x equal to x2, what is the value? At x equal to x2, what about v? v is equal to x2 minus x0, right? At x2, at x equal to x2, v equal to x2 minus x0. What is x2 minus x0? What is x0 minus x2? That is h2. So x2 minus x0 is minus h2. So at x equal to x2, v equal to minus h2. So what about p of v? P of v is equal to a into h2 square minus b into h2 plus c. Why it is minus b into h2? Because v equal to minus h2. So plus b into minus h2, that is minus b into h2 plus c. So what is v equal to minus h2? So please note this is 0. This is v equal to 0. So this side is positive, this side is negative. So this value is minus h2. Now why this is plus h2? That is this difference. This difference is h2. So 0 minus minus h2. This is 0. This is h1. This is minus h2. So you can see that h1 minus 0, that is h1. That is nothing but x1 minus x0. Now what about this h2? 0 minus h2, that is h2. That is x0 minus x2. So this is actually minus h2. So at v equal to minus h2, what is the value of p of v? That is this value. That is exactly equal to f of x2. So at x equal to x2, we have a into h2 square minus b h2 plus c, that is equal to f of x2. Is it clear? Okay. So now, again we have only one value c, we have to find a and b. So in order to find a and b, we are going to take the ratio of h2 and h1. So take gamma equal to h2 by h1. Okay, take gamma equal to h2 by h1. The leftmost difference divided by the rightmost difference. So what is h2? h2 is equal to gamma into h1. So h2 is equal to gamma into h1. So now we can modify equation 3. What is equation 3? Equation 3 is a h2 square minus b h2 plus c, that is equal to f of x2. So this is equation number 3. So we can modify this equation as a into gamma square h1 square minus b into gamma h1 plus c is equal to f of x2. A into gamma square h1 square minus b gamma h1 plus c equal to f of x2. So label it as equation number 4. So now we can find a by taking equation number 4 plus gamma into equation number 2. This is not x, this is multiplication product. Gamma into equation number 2. What is equation number 2? Equation number 2 is a h1 square, right, plus b h1 plus c equal to f of x1. So multiply it with gamma. So a into gamma h1 square plus b into gamma h1 plus c into gamma equal to gamma into f of x1. This is f of x1. Now what is its sum? If you are adding these two, you can see that this term and this term are removed. So that means a is removed. So what is remaining? A is common. You can see that a is common. Gamma, one gamma is common. Here we have one gamma. Here we have two gamma. So one gamma is common. H1 square is common. So what we can write? A into gamma into 1 plus gamma into h1 square. Right? Now what about this one? Here we have c, here we have gamma c. So what we can write? 1 plus gamma or gamma plus 1 into c. What about this one? Gamma into f of x1. This is f of x2. So it's summation. So we can write a h1 square gamma into 1 plus gamma plus c into 1 plus gamma, that is equal to f of x2 plus gamma into f of x1. That is equation number 4 plus gamma into equation number 2. So this is the summation. So after solving this, we are going to find a, because c is not, c is f of x0. So after solving this, we have a is equal to gamma into f of x1 plus f of x2 minus 1 plus gamma into c divided by h1 square into gamma into 1 plus gamma. So please remember, you have to remember this. A is equal to gamma f of x1 plus f of x2 minus 1 plus gamma into c divided by h1 square into gamma into 1 plus gamma. This is one term we have to remember. So now we have a and c. We know a and c. So we can find b. Substitute this a into equation number 2. Right? Equation number 2. Substitute a into equation number 2. So you have to remember this equation. So now substitute a into equation number 2. So therefore equation 2 becomes, we have b h1 is equal to, after substituting this a into equation number 2, we have b h1 is equal to f of x1 minus f of x0 minus a into h1 square. Actually at this point it is not substituted. What is equation number 2? Equation number 2 is once again a h1 square plus b h1 plus c equal to f of x1. So what is this equation? Except this b h1, all terms are shifted to right side. So we have f of x1 minus f of x0 minus f of x0 means c. This is actually c minus a h1 square. So b h1 is equal to this one. Okay. Actually there is no need to substitute a here. If you know the value of a, just substitute that value into a. There is no need to substitute this equation. Please note that. We have to substitute the value of a into this equation. So I am writing this equation as such. I am not going to modify this a, because we have to substitute the value. Okay. So now what is b? So now b is equal to f of x1 minus f of x0 minus a h1 square divided by h1. b is equal to f of x1 minus f of x0 minus a h1 square divided by h1. So this is b. So you have to remember this term also. So please note, c is equal to f of x0, that you have to remember. Okay. Then what is a? A equal to gamma f of x1 plus f of x2 minus 1 plus gamma into c divided by h1 square into gamma into 1 plus gamma. Then b is equal to f of x1 minus, this is c minus a h1 square divided by h1. So please note, b equal to f of x1 minus c minus a h1 square divided by h1. So this much you have to remember. Okay, so now we are going to generate the parabolic function. So what is a parabolic function? P of v is equal to a v square plus bv plus c. So this is the parabolic function. Is it okay? So from this, so now a, b and c are known. So from this we can find the root vr. So two equation, any one of these two equations you can use. Either you can use vr, that is equal to minus b plus or minus root of b square minus 4ac divided by 2a, or you can use vr is equal to minus 2c divided by b plus or minus root of b square minus 4ac. So it will give the root of p of a. But what we want the approximation of root of the given function f of x, right? So what is v? V is equal to x minus x0, right? So what is vr? Vr is equal to a xr minus x0. So now what is xr? Xr is equal to vr plus x0, right? So xr minus x0, that is vr, that is equal to, so here that I mentioned the second equation. If you want, you can write this one also. That is xr minus x0 is equal to, you have minus b plus or minus root of b square minus 4ac divided by 2a. So this is xr minus x0. So now what is xr? Xr is equal to, if you are using this equation, xr equal to x0 minus, that is this minus 2c divided by b plus or minus root of b square minus 4ac. If you are using this equation. If you are using this equation, then xr is equal to x0 plus minus b plus or minus root of b square minus 4ac divided by 2a. You can use this equation also. Okay, both will give the same answer. Okay. So through problem we are going to discuss about this. Okay. Okay, so now we can find the root of this equation, that is f of x is equal to 3x plus sin x minus e raised to x using Muller's method. So here take the initial conditions as 0, 0.5 and 1. Okay. So my question is, which one is x0, x1 and x2? What is your selection? I told you, arrange it in ascending order, then take the midpoint, the middle one as the x0, largest value as x1 and smallest one as x2. So here 0.5 is x0, 1 is x1, 0 is x2. So before starting the iteration, please note down the equations that we have to use. What are the equations that we have to use? First one is we need to find h1. What is h1? x1 minus x0. Then we need h2, that is x0 minus x2. Then we need gamma, that is h2 by h1. So if we have these three, then we can find C. What is C? C is equal to f of x0. Then what is A? A is equal to gamma into f of x1 plus f of x2 minus 1 plus gamma into C divided by h1 square into gamma into 1 plus gamma. This is A. And what is B? F of x1 minus C or f of x0 minus a h1 square divided by h1. So this is b. Okay. Once we have a, b and c, then we can find VR. Then by using VR, we can find XOR. Or directly we can find XOR. What is XOR? XOR is equal to X0 plus VR. This is VR. Means directly we can use this equation. XOR is equal to X0 plus minus b plus or minus root of b square minus 4ac divided by 2a. You can see that this one is in parenthesis. Okay. So this is very important. You have to put this parenthesis. That is very important. Okay. So now we are going to start our iteration. So iteration number 1. So first the initial conditions of this iteration. So we have x0. So x0 is the middle point, that is 0.5. So we are using 4 significant digits. Then x1 is 1.0000. x2 equal to 0.0000. So these are the initial condition. Then what we have to do? Once we have x0, x1, x2, find f of x0, f of x1, f of x2. So please note, if you are using calculator, use radians, don't use degree, use radians. So what is f of x0? F of x0 is 3 into 0.5 plus sine into 0.5 minus e raised to 0.5. That is f of x0. What is f of x1? x1 is 1, so f of x1 is 3 into 1 plus sine into 1 minus e raised to 1. You have to find that value. Now x2 equal to 0.0000. So what is f of x2? 3 into 0 plus sine into 0 minus e raised to 0. That you can easily say. This is 0, this term is 0, minus e raised to 0, that is minus 1. So we have f of x0 is equal to 0.3307. F of x1 is equal to 1.1232. F of x2 is equal to minus 1.0000. So this is f of x0, f of x1, f of x2. Okay. So once we have f of x0, f of x1, f of x2, what we can find? Actually, there is no need to find c again. It is understood. F of x0 is c. So there is no need to write it again. Okay. So please note, c is f of x0. Okay. Now we can find a. What is the value of a? A is this equation. So here the important thing, in order to find a, first we have to complete this step. That is, we have to find h1, h2 and gamma. Without that we can't find a and b. So what is h1? h1 is x1 minus x0. x1 is 1 minus x0, that is 0.5. So h1 is 0.5000. Right? x1 minus x0. Now what is h2? h2 is x0 minus x2. x0 is 0.5000. x2 is 0.0000. So what about h2? 0.5000. Right? So h1 is 0.5000. h2 is 0.5000. Now what is gamma? h2 by h1. So that is 1.0000. So that is gamma. Once we have these values, then we can find a, then after that b. So what is a? A is equal to gamma into f of x1 plus f of x2 minus 1 plus gamma into c divided by h1 square into gamma into 1 plus gamma. So that is equal to 1 into 1.1232 plus minus 1.0000 minus 1 plus 1 into 0.3307, that is c, divided by 0.5 square into 1 plus 1. Means you can substitute these values into this equation. So you have this a equal to minus 1.0764. So this is a, minus 1.0764. Okay. So with this a, you can find b. What is the equation of b? f of x1, that is this value, minus f of x0, that is this value, minus a into a is minus 1.0764. Already one minus sign is there, so this a also have another minus, so that is, you must be very careful. Okay, so minus into minus, that is plus, into h1 square, this is h1, so h1 square divided by h1. So b is equal to 2.1232. So this is b. B is equal to 2.1232. So already we have C. I told you C is nothing but f of x0, and by using that C we determine this a. Okay. So now we have a, that is minus 1.0764, b, that is 2.1232, and c, that is 0.3307. So now what we can find by using these three? We can find, so now we have a parabolic equation, that is a into v square plus b into v plus c. Now we can find the root of, directly we can, I told you, directly we can find the approximated root of the given function, that is x. What is x? x0 plus minus b plus or minus root of b square minus 4ac divided by 2a. So what is that? So find it. So you have xr is equal to, it will give two value, xr is equal to 0.3549, that is one value, 2.6176. So we have two value. So this is actually determined by using the root of p of v. But actual function point of view, one is more suitable compared to second one. We have to select one from these two. Which one? Normally everybody is selecting the value which is very close to x0. Why? I already told you we have three initial conditions, x0, x1, x2. Out of these three initial conditions, x0 must be very close to the actual root, means f of x0 must be the smallest one. So here you can see that two xr values are there, 0.3549, 2.6176. Out of these two values, 0.3549 is very close to x0, means it may be very close to the actual root also. So we can select 0.3549. But that one is not a good practice. Actually, you have to find the functional value at these 2 points. And the magnitude of the smallest functional value, magnitude point of view, the smallest functional value, that we have to select. So here, if you are substituting 0.3549, it will give small f of x value compared to f of 2.6176. So that one is a good practice. But here you can use compare or check which one is very close to x0. That you can select at the new x0. So here I am going to select this value for the next iteration. So xr equal to 0.3549. Is it okay? So now we are going to start the next iteration. Before that, already we have three values, 0, then 0.5, then 1. So now we have one more value, that is 0.3549. So if you are adding these two, so in ascending order, its position will be here, 0.3549. So always you have to take this one as the new x0. You have to take this one as new x0. Okay. So you have to take this one as new x0, means automatically what will be x1? The next point, that is 0.5. Because 0.5 is very close to this x0. So you have to take this one is x0, 0.3549 as x0. You have to take 0.5 as x1, and you have to take 0. That one is a left point, very nearest left point of 0.3549. So 0 you have to take it as x2. Okay, so means you have to neglect 1. In some situation, this is only for explanatory purpose, say 0, 0.5 and 1 are the initial values. Now by using iterations, we have two values. In some situation, that those two values may be 0.35, okay, comma 0.51. So at that point, you can see that 0.51 is very close to 0.5 than 0.35. I told you in real good practices, you have to select the smallest one. If f of 0.51 is the smallest one, you have to take it as x0. Otherwise, you have to take 0.35 as the x0. Okay. So this problem in some situation you can see. Okay. And one more thing, that is, in some situation again 0, 0.5 and 1 are the initial condition. In some situation, the new points may be 0.25, the XR value. The XR values may be 0.25, 0.35. So definitely 0.35 is very close to 0.5. So you have to take 0.35 as x0. Okay. Now its nearest right point is 0.5. So you have to take this one as x1. Now my question is, what is x2? Yes, you can't select 0. You have to select 0.26. Okay. But we are not manually doing this. We are writing an algorithm. So if you are choosing like this way, you need a efficient algorithm. You have to write an efficient algorithm. If you are unable to write an efficient algorithm, then instead of 0.26, you have to select 0 as x2. But it will increase the number of iterations. If you are capable to do this, then you can write a better efficient algorithm. Okay. So these are the things that you have to take care. Okay. But normally we will have this type of situation. Only one value will be there between x1 and x2. So here that is 0.3549. So we are selecting this one as x0, then 0.5 as x1, 0 as x2. So we are going to start this next iteration. So I told you x0 is equal to 0.3549, x1 is equal to 0.5000, x2 equal to 0.0000. Okay. So now what we have to find? Once we have x0, x1, x2, we have to find f of x0, f of x1, f of x2. Okay, but please note, f of x1, that is f of 0.5 is already available, where you can see here 0.5. So corresponding value is this one. Corresponding function value is this one. Meaning this value is a new f of x1. If you want to compute, you can do that, but please, you can save time here. Okay. Similarly, x2 is 0. So f of 0, that is this f of x2, minus 1.000. So the only thing is, you have to find this new f of x0 or new f of 0.3549. So f of x0 is equal to minus 0.0138. F of x1 is equal to 0.3307. F of x2 is equal to minus 1. So this one is the function values at x0, x1, x2. F of x0 is equal to minus 0.0138. F of x1 is equal to 0.3307. F of x2 equal to minus 1.0000. Now what you have to find? The next one is, you have to find this particular thing, h1, h2, then gamma. What is h1? h1 is x1 minus x0. Similarly, what is h2? This x0 minus x2. So that is here, h1 is equal to 0.1451. Now h2 is equal to 0.3549. So what is gamma? This h2 divided by h1. So you can see that is 2.4462. Gamma is equal to 2.4462. So that is gamma. Okay. Once we have this, then directly you can find C. Actually, there is no to repeat this one. I told you this f of x0 is nothing but C. Now what is A? By substituting gamma, f of x1, f of x2, C and h1 into this equation, we have A. So A is equal to, you have A. Similarly, what is B? Once you have A, This is A equal to minus 0.8083. A is equal to minus 0.8083. Similarly, by using this A, we can find B. So you can find B. B is equal to 2.4918. Means substitute f of x1, f of x0, and this new A. Please note, you have to substitute the new A. Then this h1, etc. into this equation. Means for this iteration, we are substituting these values only. This iteration 1 is not considered. Now we are substituting these values. Okay, so B is equal to 2.4918. So that is B. We already have C. C is minus 0.0138. So now by using this A, B, C, we can find XR. So substitute into this equation, we have XR is equal to 0.3604, comma, it will give two value, second value is 3.4321. Okay. So now we have two values. So which one is very close to x0? This is x0. The closest value is this one. So you have to select this one is new x0, right? These are the initial conditions of iteration number 2. That is 0, then 0.3549, then 0.5. Now we have a new value, that is 0.3604. So this is now the new x0. The rightmost point, the nearest right value is 0.5. So that is x1. Now this 0.3549 is x2. So for iteration number 3, x0 is equal to 0.3604. This is 4. Then x1 is equal to 0.5. That is correct. Then x2 is equal to 0.3549. Is it okay? So now what we have to find? Once we have x0, x1, x2, we have to find f of x0, f of x1, f of x2. So if you are finding f of x0, actually this one is for significant, then 0, means we can neglect this. So f of x0 is 0. Okay, f of x0 means at x0 value of function is 0. What is indication? What is the indication? Indication is nothing but x0, that is 0.3604, is the root. That is why f of x0 is 0. So if you are writing an algorithm, at what point we have to stop? If f of x0 is 0, definitely you can stop. But in some situation it will take more steps. So at that point, how to restrict the number of iterations? If the two that is the current x0 and the previous x0, if these two are exactly equal, then you can stop. The new x0 and the previous x0, if these two are equal, you can stop. Okay. Means if you are executing this iteration, so I am not stopping here. By using x0 condition, I am going to stop. So f of x0 is 0, f of x1 is 0.3307, f of x2 is minus 0.0138. Now what we have to find? h1, h2, gamma. What is h1? x1 minus x0. And what about h2? x0 minus x2. So h1 is 0.1396. This is actually 6 because this is 4. So h1 is 0.1396 and h2 is equal to this 0.3604 minus 0.3549. So this is 5. Okay, 0.0055. So this one is not much change. So we can use this value, gamma equal to 0.0398. Okay. So we have h1, h2, gamma. So by using these values, what we can find? I told you C is f of x0, that is 0. Now we can find A and B. First find A. So A is equal to, by substituting these values, A is equal to minus 0.9471. B is equal to, after finding A, we have to use this A to find B. B is equal to 2.5014. C, that is 0. That is f of x 0. That is 0. So we have A, B and C. So by using this A, B and C, we can find XR by using this equation. So you can see that XR is equal to, one value is 0.3604 and second value is 3.0015. Okay. So here you can see an interesting thing. This value is very close to x0. Actually, it is not very close. It is exactly equal to x0. If one XR is exactly equal to x0, you can stop the. So that condition I used. We have two XR value. If one XR is very close to x0, we have to continue the iteration. So here one XR is exactly equal to x0, so we can stop there. So 0.3604 is the numerical root of this equation. Okay. Now we are going to explain the advantages of modulus method. I told you convergence method of modulus method is similar to Newton's method. Slightly greater, but that one don't have any advantage. So convergence of modulus method is similar to Newton's method. Okay. Then the main advantage compared to Newton's method is it does not require the evaluation of derivative. In Newton's method, what we did, if you have f of x, we are finding f dash of x. In some situation, it is very difficult to find the derivative. It is very difficult. At that point, what we have to do? We have to find f dash of x0 by using numerical differentiation. So that we have to, during each iteration, we have to run the numerical differentiation algorithm. For what purpose? In order to find f dash of x0. Okay, so in some situation, it will be a big challenge. So here in modulus method, there is no need to find the derivative. So that one is a main advantage of this modulus method. You can see that it have only addition, subtraction, multiplication and division, right? And another one is we can find the complex root also. Okay, but in order to find the complex root, we need the initial value. We need a complex initial value. If you are able to give a complex initial value, we can find the complex root. What is the disadvantage of modulus method? The disadvantage of modulus method is the number of steps in each iteration is very large. That is a disadvantage. Okay, so I am stopping here.